About a year ago, the Toyota RAV4 made headlines when it dethroned the Ford F-150 as America's best-selling vehicle, a title that many thought would never change hands. Earlier this year, the RAV4 found itself back in the spotlight yet again, this time with the unveiling of an all-new 6th-generation model featuring a completely redesigned exterior, an updated interior, and Toyota's latest hybrid technology. And now, Toyota Motor Philippines has finally brought the newest generation RAV4 to our shores, entering a market that looks very different from the one the previous model left behind. Chinese EVs and hybrids have flooded the Philippine market over the last few years, giving buyers more choices than ever before. So the question is, does the all-new RAV4 still have what it takes to stand out? Let's find out. The 2026 Toyota RAV4 is being offered locally in two variants, the Adventure and the Limited. Today we're taking a look at the Limited trim. At first glance, it's immediately recognizable as a modern Toyota. The front fascia follows the same design language we've seen on vehicles like the Toyota Camry, the Corolla Cross, and even the recently unveiled electric Hilux. Personally, I'm a fan of this direction. It gives Toyota's lineup a much more modern and cohesive appearance without losing the identity that people have come to associate with the brand. With this 6th generation model, Toyota has also leaned further into a boxier design philosophy. Compared to earlier generations, the new RAV4 looks more upright, more rugged, and honestly, more SUV like than before. The limited trim rides on a set of classy 20-inch alloy wheels wrapped in 235/50 tires. Compare that to the Adventure variant's 18-inch wheels with taller 235/60 tires, and you can clearly see the difference in target market. The Adventure feels like it's geared towards buyers looking for a more rugged appearance, while the Limited leans towards those who want a more premium, road-focused SUV. One of the biggest mechanical changes underneath is Toyota's decision to equip the RAV4 with a multi-link rear suspension setup. This replaces the previous rear suspension design and should contribute significantly to both ride comfort and overall refinement. And we'll talk more about that once we get behind the wheel. Stepping inside, I'm happy to report that Toyota has finally started moving away from the hard, scratchy plastics that many of us have become familiar with over the years. There are now plenty of soft touch materials throughout the cabin, especially around the door armrests and across sections of the dashboard. It immediately makes the interior feel more premium than before. The limited trim also receives a more minimalist gear selector compared to the Adventure variant. In fact, the design actually reminds me quite a bit of the gear selector found in the BYD Sea Lion 6. The steering wheel is another highlight. It strongly reminds me of the one found in the Land Cruiser Prado, and I think that's a good thing. It gives the RAV4 a slightly more rugged character, while still maintaining a sense of sophistication, if that makes any sense. The front seats are very comfortable, and both the driver and front passenger get power adjustment. More importantly, the driver's seat finally gets memory functions. And honestly, it's about time. Moving over to the technology side of things, Toyota has installed a massive 12.9-inch infotainment display. Of course, you get wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, but what really stands out is the size of the screen itself. Toyota is finally starting to catch up to the display sizes we've been seeing from many Chinese brands over the last few years. And they didn't stop there. The RAV4 also gets a 12.3-inch fully digital instrument cluster, while the limited trim even comes equipped with a heads-up display. Not gonna lie, coming from a Toyota race as my daily driver, this genuinely got me excited. That said, one thing I still have to hand to Toyota is their consistency when it comes to interior color choices here in the Philippines. And by consistency, I mean black. I know that in other markets, you can spec the RAV4 Limited with a beautiful khaki interior, and honestly, offering that locally could help Toyota's case when buyers start comparing this against vehicles from brands like BYD. Moving to the rear seats, space is exactly what I expected from a RAV4. Having owned RAV4s in the past, I can confidently say that rear seat comfort and passenger room have always been among this model's strengths. No complaints here. The panoramic moonroof also creates a much airier feeling inside the cabin, making the interior feel larger than it already is. Under the hood, the 2026 RAV4 comes to use Toyota's familiar 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, which, if we're being honest, is a very Toyota thing to do. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The engine is paired with a lithium iron phosphate battery pack, which, according to sources online, has a capacity of around 1.6 kilowatt hours. This generation RAV4 also features Toyota's 5th generation hybrid system. Now, I've linked another video if you'd like a deeper explanation of Toyota's hybrid evolution over the years. But one of the biggest difference between Toyota's hybrid system and something like BYD's DMI technology comes down to philosophy. Toyota designed its hybrid system to behave like a gasoline vehicle that happens to have electric assistance. BYD, on the other hand, designed the DMI system to behave more like an electric vehicle that happens to carry an engine, and it changes the ownership experience quite a bit. Toyota's system is primarily focused on improving fuel efficiency and reducing fuel consumption relative to a conventional gasoline vehicle. Most Toyota hybrids are also self-charging hybrids, meaning you cannot plug them in. Instead, the battery is replenished through regenerative braking and excess engine power. One major advantage of this setup is convenience. There are no charging habits to learn, no charging schedules to follow, and no need to install a charger at home. The vehicle simply takes care of everything on its own. The downside, at least in my opinion, is that on shorter city drives where speeds regularly exceed around 40 kilometers per hour, the engine will still spend a fair amount of time running. So while fuel consumption remains impressively low, you're still consuming gasoline rather than driving purely on electricity. On to my driving impressions of the 2026 Toyota RAV4. What can I say? It's a Toyota, and it's a RAV4. Everything feels solidly built. While driving, there were no squeaks, no rattles, and no strange noises coming from any of the interior panels. The overall sense of quality is exactly what I expected from Toyota. Acceleration is also pretty much what I anticipated from a naturally aspirated engine. Power delivery is smooth and predictable rather than explosive. Ride quality, however, is excellent. Coming from a Toyota Fortuner, I'd comfortably call this a noticeable upgrade. The suspension does a great job of absorbing imperfections while still keeping the vehicle composed. Steering feel is equally well judged. It's not overly heavy, but it's also not so light that it feels disconnected from the road. The front seats remain extremely comfortable, even during longer drives, and the fact that they're both heated and ventilated is a welcome bonus. The sound system is another highlight. Both the RAV4 Limited and Adventure comes equipped with 9 JBL speakers, and the overall audio experience is genuinely impressive. One feature I particularly appreciated was the updated implementation of the 360-degree camera system. When the vehicle detects that you're maneuvering through tighter spaces, the camera view automatically appears. That might sound minor, but it's something that our family's Toyota Yaris Cross doesn't do. In that vehicle, you need to manually activate the camera whenever you want to use it while driving. Braking feel is refreshingly natural as well. Despite being a hybrid, the pedal feel is very similar to what you'd expect from a conventional gasoline vehicle. Changing drive modes also has a noticeable impact. Switching the RAV4 into sport mode seems to encourage the engine to engage earlier and remain active longer, giving the RAV4 a more responsive character when accelerating. Unfortunately, I can't comment too much on body roll or cornering dynamics. Most of my test drive took place on relatively straight roads with very little elevation change. But from what I could experience, the RAV4 felt planted, predictable, and comfortable throughout. Now, throughout this review, you've heard me say a lot of positive things about the new RAV4. And to be fair, all those compliments are deserved. Toyota still knows how to build a very good vehicle. Where I think they struggle is knowing how to price one. The RAV4 Limited is priced at 2,499,000 pesos. For context, the BYD Sea Lion 6 comes in at roughly 1,598,000 pesos. In my opinion, both vehicles target a very similar buyer. Now, to be fair, the Sea Lion 6 is a front-wheel drive mid-size SUV, while the RAV4 is all-wheel drive. But even with that taken into consideration, we're talking about a price difference approaching 1 million pesos. And we haven't even started talking about vehicles like the BYD Tang DMI, which is a larger 7-seater hybrid SUV that also costs less than this RAV4. Then there's the recently launched GWM Haval H7. The top spec plug-in hybrid 4-wheel drive variant comes in at around 1,648,000 pesos. Or the BAIC B30, another hybrid SUV with an all-wheel drive system that's priced below 2 million pesos while also being marketed as a capable lifestyle and off-road vehicle. For me, this is where the pricing becomes difficult to justify. The RAV4 has a smaller battery than many of its Chinese competitors, seats the same number of passengers, and offers largely similar technology and convenience features. What buyers are really paying for here is the Toyota badge. They're paying for Toyota's reputation for reliability, they're paying for Toyota's resale value, and they're paying for the confidence that comes with Toyota's 30-year head start in the automotive market. Beyond those areas, I would argue that many Chinese brands currently offer more features and technology for less money. For some buyers, Toyota's reputation alone is worth the additional 1 million pesos, and that's perfectly fine. But for most people, the goal is simple: find the vehicle that gives them the most value for their hard earned money. The 2026 Toyota RAV4 is undeniably a good vehicle. Personally, though, I think it's a very overpriced one. If you'd enjoyed this review, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments. Would you spend 2.5 million pesos on the new Toyota RAV4, or would you choose one of the many Chinese hybrids currently available in the market? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.